Hey, it's Big T. Today I'm going to tie up a attractor nymph that seems to work well in the winter months. Tractor nymphs are nymphs that really don't necessarily resemble a bug per se, but do have something that grabs the attention of a fish. This is going to be fairly similar to a rainbow warrior. We're going to call it a purple warrior. And what I've got in the vise is a size 14 jig claw hook. Generally speaking though, I'm going to probably fish this in the wintertime in a smaller size. But for tying purposes, we're going to start with a 14 so it's easier to see. I'm probably going to go more with an 18, maybe even down to a 20. This is a glossy black bead. I feel like the fly itself is going to have enough flash in other areas, and I want the contrast of a more muted color on that fly. This is just black uni 8/0 thread, and I'm going to tie back to the bend of the hook and trim off our thread, and then take a coq de leon tailing feather in black. You could also use a saddle hackle feather. I'm going to pull off 3 or 4, maybe more fibers here for our tail, and tie that in at the rear. And wrap up, securing that down before we trim off the excess up front. Once I've done that, I'm going to come back up, get a nice even thread base down, and wrap back to the back of the hook, making sure I get everything secured. We're going to have a thorax on this, so I'm not going to worry too much about our taper, but I am going to put a little wider thread base down up top, and that'll also secure that bead in. Then we're going to take some blue ice tinsel. This is a really nice translucent tinsel that's got a really cool blue hue to that. That's in a small size. You probably could get away with medium, maybe even large for this size fly. And we'll get that tied in. Eventually. I wouldn't have struggled with this a couple of years ago when I started doing these videos. But age is creeping up quickly. Alright, we'll tie that back. And next we're going to tie in some wine colored small ultra wire. And we'll wrap that back. I'm going to add just a touch of Zap-A-Gap to that thread. What that's going to do is that's going to help keep our tinsel from unraveling if we end up sticking a bunch of fish. And we're just going to wrap up with touching turns, and you can see where covering that black thread with the blue ice tinsel will create a nice violet effect. Trim the excess off there. And then we can come up and wrap our purple wire or our wine colored wire up over and create 3 to 4 segments before we wrap up in front and behind and helicopter off. And then the last thing we're going to add to that is some purple ice dubbing. And I'm just going to put a little sparse amount on there. I don't want to overload it. And we'll apply the whip finish to that. It's another great attractor fly. Again, a little less flashy, a little more muted than a Rainbow Warrior. Will also show up a little bit better in depth because of the bluish colors and hues that are attached to it. I appreciate you watching. For this type of video and all the materials to tie this fly and more, please visit my website at bigtflyfishing.com and subscribe to my channel.